Oh, guys, it's been like a solid 2 years since I actually uploaded something like that I meant to upload. I'm not gonna lie. First actual video back. Let's get into it. This is gonna be the FNAF lore explained, entire timeline, full story, every theory.
Leading to around 1991 to 1996, where the minimum wage was $4.25.
Never mind.
Rounding down to $4. Funnily enough, in the next game, once Scott knew for a fact we would actually calculate the pay, the paycheck just happens to perfectly equal the 1987's minimum wage with no error rounding up or down at all. Meaning at most, he was indeed implying that they paid you minimum wage in FNAF 1, and MatPat was correct.
That man was getting $4 an hour to risk his life.
He decided to make sure it was exact and accurate in the next game. Some have mentioned that the minimum wage not being $4.25 exactly is a major problem with the solution. Although I propose that Scott may have simply just done 4 times 30 to get the paycheck amount of $120 instead of doing specifically 4.25 times 30 to get the actual exact amount of $127.50.
I don't think it's that important.
It's just a personal assumption, so feel free to disagree at that point. Whether it was initially meant to be solved that way or not though, judging by FNAF 2 making the pay actually accurate, Scott would later mention how FNAF 1, 2, and 3 were solved, and that the story was completely uncovered by YouTubers and the community. I think it's very important to note that this is when 1993 was the main date for FNAF 1, and 2023, gotten from 1993, was the main date for FNAF 3, used by almost the entire community, which he would still go on to clarify that those dates are incorrect despite everyone using them for 10 whole years.
I'll be real, I didn't even know the lore went this deep, bro. Because I haven't done like a video in like such a long time. I've missed so much, so like we're back.
And instead actually references one of the dates, 2023, in a later game, to seemingly confirm or at least heavily imply that we were correct. And he'd also later create a code in the survival logbook that makes FNAF 3 taking place before 2017 extremely unlikely, to the point some say impossible. Within unused FNAF AR emails, 1993 was mentioned twice as the date FNAF 1 takes place. And while this is unused content, Scott did apparently say that they were bound to be leaked anyways. Although, to be fair, I can't seem to find a screenshot of that.
We gotta get off of prices, bro.
What you will. Overall, I think if towards him and he transfers to the day shift guard instead, we, Jeremy Fitzgerald, become the new night guard. However, when police investigations start, Purple Guy makes a run for it, and Jeremy ends up being transferred to the day shift, namely for the location's final birthday party occurring the next day. Jeremy is told by Phone Guy to stay close to the animatronics to ensure that they don't hurt anyone at a party, and to make sure that nothing goes wrong.
Bite of 87.
Which is most likely hinting that Jeremy becomes the victim of the Bite of 87.
Jeremy? What?
Being bit by one of the animatronics, he was ordered to stay close to. Then, during the 7th custom night, we play as a brand new night guard, Smith, who happens to get fired on his first night, and interestingly enough, for the exact same reasons as FNAF 1's guard does, which might be implying that they're possibly the same person, going under an alias for an unknown reason. We also hear about an older location, Fredbear's Family Diner, from Phone Guy, seemingly Fazbear Entertainment's first ever location.
So he tried to come back
we also see that
and
although the Purple Guy stuffs the original 5 children into
got
suits,
fired,
as we learned about in the first game, the puppet was seemingly the one to actually guide their spirits to then possess the main animatronics, giving the kids the gift of new life. The main debated theory at the time, and still to this day, was who caused the Bite of 87. The main candidates by the time of this game were Withered Foxy, as he's shown to jump directly at you in his jump scare, and once again, him being out of order in FNAF 1 makes a lot of sense when taking into consideration
I don't think it's Foxy,
that he caused
though.
a major incident for the company.
My boy Foxy not built like
comes
that.
Down from the roof to seemingly bite the top of your head. And
Mangle
Chica,
makes sense,
whose beak mysteriously goes missing throughout the game, as possibly a hint towards her being the one to do it. Another big theory that spawned from this game is about the
Mangle or
identity
Chica
of
for
the new
sure.
Shadow animatronics.
Who do y'all think it was?
Modeled after Withered Golden Freddy, and Shadow Bunny, modeled after Toy Bunny. These two don't get explained in any of the minigames, and are limited to their secret random chance appearances, meaning any information about them is very limited. Although due to them being modeled after both eras of the animatronics, it could be assumed that they may have come from the 2 incidents somehow. And years later,
I never understood Shadow Bunny and Freddy.
Agony.
Shadow Bunny and Freddy were like, I think that was beyond my prime. You know what I'm saying? Like my prime. That was like beyond like I got to like 2 and I was like fire. I got the 3, I was like I got the 4, I was like holy crap. Then they, they had some shadow animatronics, and I was just like, what does that mean, you know?
Basically, the amount of negative emotion from events of pure tragedy is so powerful that it can create an entity and or make something appear haunted despite not having an actual soul within it. So in this case, Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bunny are basically the manifestation of and born from William's evil.
Pure
Shadow Freddy
evil,
likely being created
empty.
from the agony of the original 5 missing children, explaining why it looks like Golden Freddy, with Shadow Bunny possibly coming from the agony of the new missing children that we learn about in this game, explaining why it looks like Toy Bunny. This is all very easily explained by Shadow Freddy himself with his later form Nightmare, with the quote, "I am your wickedness, made of flesh." A small theory that returned from the previous game was that the phone guy is actually the purple guy and was the murderer of the story,
bro.
and that the item in his hand in the minigames was actually a phone, although I need to mention this was later disproven and debunked by Scott himself. Another theory about Phone Guy is that he might actually be Fritz Smith, who takes over for Jeremy on the final night.
Right, but he got fired
wasn't
though.
agreed upon too much because, well, he gets fired. Right. And the fired note claims that this is his first day Fritz has a job with them. And it'll also mean that he gets fired in this location, but is in the same position working in the next location.
Right, that wouldn't line up.
A theory that came from this game was the fact that the puppet was actually either in the FNAF 1 location or a previous Freddy location due to the dream cutscenes between nights, showing the main FNAF 1 animatronics and eventually the puppet all in what appears to be the FNAF 1 location. Even in the future, it's still unknown what these dream cutscenes were meant to be telling us, if anything. Although some may say this is showing us that the FNAF 1 animatronics are actually what the animatronics look like in the original Freddys too. Another smaller theory was whether the purple guy was actually purple or not, which later on it would actually get confirmed that it's simply meant to be representing him in the shadows, and that
he was never
he's not actually
purple guy?
a literal purple guy.
I mean, I feel like that was common sense,
10
but
years old. And when I think about some of the most interesting theories, I have to mention the debate on purple guy and the potential of a pink guy. In Foxy Go Go Go, some theorists thought that the purple guy in the corner was actually pink, and therefore a different character altogether. This opened the door to so many different theories, from maybe purple guy was innocent, which was a theory that I really found interesting back in the day, to maybe purple guy was the phone guy.
I swear I'm not yawning on purpose, bro. They overloading my brain for real.
And pink guy was the killer, to maybe these two were the owners of the restaurant together and they had like conflicting interests in the restaurant. If you were a FNAF fan back in 2014 to 2015, you'll surely feel nostalgic about this one because it was very prolific back in the day. And while I never personally believed this theory, I thought the potential to have two killers or even one killer and one good guy would be a very interesting
two different people.
You can give this theory
two different people. I don't know if
or
I
something.
I
don't know. Moving on.
That, bro.
This game is quite straightforward with
FNAF
most
3
of its story.
It was
the
not
game
my
takes place
favorite.
30 years after FNAF 1.
It wasn't
and
my
so FNAF
favorite.
1 is in 1993 in 2023, with a Steam description saying it's 30 years after Freddy's closed its doors, meaning the most recent Freddy's, not the other two times they closed and then reopened afterwards.
Right.
Also the fact that in a game described as taking place after Freddy's closed its doors, we just happen to play minigames in a Freddy's that's closed its doors. The source code teasing the game outright stating Five Nights at Freddy's 30 years later, which very simply means
Only
30
one.
years after the first Five Nights at Freddy's game takes place. In
Right.
the future with the audio log HRY223 where Henry starts
Right.
planning FNAF 6, later by coding the survival logbook proving that FNAF 3 takes place in modern times,
Gosh.
the code itself making it any earlier than 2017 seemingly incorrect, and the fact that we didn't have the 1985 date for the missing children's incident by FNAF 3 for 2015 to even be a possibility, which would mean that the game's year would have been impossible to solve despite Scott saying that FNAF 3's story was solved, and more. 2023 timeline debates aside, some vague...
I could never believe that like this was like a relevant timeline. Like this has got to be like 1970s, 80s, and 90s the whole time. Like I don't know if I could believe it, bro. I wouldn't even go to my local Chuck E. Cheese and look for an animatronic. Like I got a box, bro. Respectfully, I'm boxing it. I ain't gonna win, but I'm boxing it though.
Time after FNAF 1, William eventually sneaks back into the pizzeria after being MIA for years and destroys the FNAF 1 animatronics, which are the only ones who still have spirits within them at this point. Note for later that the endoskeletons are missing from the pile of parts. Back to the story though, and the spirits are then seemingly loose and are able to scare William briefly before he runs directly into the Spring Bunny suit, feeling powerful and mighty once more before the suit malfunctions and imprisons him within it. Then skip forward to 2023.
There's no way it's relevant. Help Wanted
the myths and rumors of
could be relevant.
Fazbear's Fright, the horror attraction. They go to the old locations looking for anything they can use, and one day are informed of safe rooms in the locations. Phone Dude and whoever else is running Fazbear's Fright eventually go there and find the Springtrap purple guy in the Freddy's safe room, along with some more FNAF 1 animatronic parts, and they then put him in the location as an attraction. Springtrap is then loose within Fazbear's Fright until the unnamed player, I'll get into this in a second.
Alright, look. My brain's hurting, bro. It's late at night. Let me edit this up for y'all real quick. If you're seeing this, I love you. And I want you to comment down below. Which Five Nights at Freddy's was your favorite? 1, 2, 3, sister location. Which one was your favorite, and which one are you looking forward to seeing in this video? I'm gonna try to cover this, guys. You want me to live stream this, let me know. I may not. I'm a busy man, but we back. I'll see y'all later. Peace.